The more you listen, the more you try to live a righteous life. The Spirit's falling down on you. It's called the Spirit of Truth. The more you listen, the more you try.
What is up, you guys? It is your girl, the real Mrs. J. What is up, you guys? It's your girl, the real Mrs. J. And I was just sitting here thinking, y'all know my brain is always clicking, okay? Always clicking. My eyes always going back and forth because I'm always thinking about something. So let me tell y'all, I was thinking about this whole beach situation. And yes, I'm talking about the beach situation because that is what's going on right now, okay? That's what my mind is. But I was just sitting here thinking about it. And, you know how we all know that something happened, but the way that she's going about it and the lies, I'm trying to say embellish. I'm trying to, change my vocabulary around just a little bit, but we know that she embellished, okay, with the situation. And when you do that, no good comes out of it. No good comes out of it. And it's not going to end well for the person who's not being truthful and forthcoming about the situation. Now, y'all get your popcorn. Get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your drinks, because I'm about to tell y'all something that happened in my life where somebody embellished and was not truthful and forthcoming about a situation and how their life turned out. So, back when my youngest daughter was a year old. She was still a baby. Was she a year old yet? Yeah, she was a year old. But she was still sleeping in her crib. No, well, her crib turned into a day bed. And then my other daughter, she had her little toddler bed or whatever. So my kids are 2 years apart. So when my oldest daughter, when she was about 3 years old, and my youngest daughter was 1, my husband and I had broke up. So we broke up for probably about 2 months. And so during that time, he stayed with his parents, and I stayed in my apartment, me and the kids. So at the time I was working, and I used to work from 2 to 10 or whatever, and I needed somebody to help me because him and I, we used to like swap. Like I used to work from 2 to 10. He worked from 7 to 3. So we had our little neighbor downstairs. She was a little young girl in high school. She would come up to my apartment and stay there until my husband got there. And he would, of course, stay with the kids for the rest of the night. And so we paid her to do that. So when he was living when he went to stay with his parents, when we broke up, one of my little cousins came to live with me. And well, not to live with me, but she came to stay with me to help me, and I was paying her. So, mind you, this is so my cousin that I told y'all about in the last story time, where I was taking my kids over there and her boyfriend got shot and unalived right there at the front door, and that little situation. If y'all want to know about that situation, y'all gonna have to go refer back a couple of videos ago. The one I was talking about when I said life lessons. Okay, so her oldest daughter is the one that came and stayed with me for, to help me out with my kids. And so one particular day, I had to be there at 2. I didn't know what was going on, when I'm not at home, because I'm at work, and these are some young teenagers. And so I'm at work. We lived and it's like those 3-story apartment buildings or whatever. So anyways, so I go to work, I'm at work, and I get a phone call. So I'm like, hello. And the person on the other end was like, are you sitting down? And I'm like, what do you mean, am I sitting down? No, what is going on? So it was my neighbor from downstairs. It was the little girl who used to keep our kids. It was her mom. She said, your baby fell off the balcony. I said, what the fuck do you mean my baby fell off the balcony? She said that she fell off the balcony. And I was like, so mind you, we lived on the second floor. Okay. And she was talking about my oldest daughter. So at that moment, I just left. Okay. I left work. And I literally worked about maybe 15 minutes away from my house. And when I pulled up, the ambulance was pulling up, okay? My car was smoking and everything. I get there to the house, I run upstairs, and my baby's just sitting there, face all swollen up. Y'all, it was like the worst. And so I was working for an urgent care center, and so I had on, like my scrubs, I had on the white jacket and everything. So I picked my daughter up, and when I ran down the steps with her, and when I stepped down and got to the ambulance, they opened up the door. And so, I basically handed my daughter to them. I was not fucking around, okay? So anyways, so I ride with them, They take her to this hospital. They took her to MCV because that's like the one of the best trauma hospitals in the country. It's in line with Johns Hopkins. So we went to the hospital. They checked her out. She didn't have any broken bones or, nothing like that. Her face was really swollen real bad. She had a black eye. And so they wanted to keep her in ICU. And so when they had her in ICU, of course, I called my husband. He came flying down there. And so, I didn't even ask to try and find out what had happened at that time. I was just wanting to make sure that my baby was okay before all that bullshit. Okay. I didn't care what happened at that time. I just wanted to make sure that my baby was good. So after they gave her some morphine and everything for pain, and then when she finally went to sleep, and then my husband was like he wanted to stay there with her at the hospital, and I went home to stay with our youngest daughter. And when I get home, I'm like, what happened? So she like, well, Lord have mercy, I'm about to say my name again. She was like, well, auntie, we was outside, we was all outside talking on the steps or whatever, and her boyfriend, this little guy she met, he was walking by, and he so happened to hear some moaning, and when he looked down and saw that my daughter was down at the bottom of the apartment underneath us, downstairs, like on the ground, on their patio. It's hard for me to explain because it was 3 floors, but the second floor wasn't that far from the ground, and so the bottom apartments almost was like basement type apartments, because you couldn't like just walk out of the patio and walk out onto the ground. You couldn't do that with their patio. You literally, it was like down on the slab. But anyways, so he said, the boyfriend said that my baby was down there. And so he saw her and he jumped down there and he picked her up. And, my husband praising him like, thank you for saving my baby, because we didn't know that if you would have walked by, nobody would have known that she was down there. Because it is like I said, it's like a basement apartment. So you can't see beyond like the little, I guess, gate part or whatever to the patio. So, after that, we all thankful she's okay. And, that this is the story that they told me, that, they don't know how she fell. She must have climbed on a chair. Cause at that time I used to smoke cigarettes. So we had 2 chairs out on our patio, and, I used to go out there and smoke cause I never smoked in the house when I had kids. So, they were saying, that possibly she climbed up in the chair. She may have, fell out the chair. So that was pretty much the story. So we thinking this dude done saved our daughter's life and blase, 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 blue. So after that, time went by, and for some reason, and the story never really, it never really sat with me well, if that makes sense. And after that, she didn't, of course, CPS was involved. Of course, they came to the house. They was, checking everything, asking me about my kids' doctor's appointments. When the last time they went to the doctor. And let me tell you something. I was that mother. I don't play about my kids going to the doctor. I always schedule their checkups on their birthdays, so I could, when somebody asks me when was the last time my child went to the doctor, I can give them the specific date. I don't play with my kids' health. Okay. So anyways, so then after the 90 days, because CPS was had investigating the situation too for 90 days, and so they just cleared everything as an accident. Okay. So after that, she wasn't staying there anymore. And pretty much my husband, he had started staying back at home. Actually, he had surgery on his wrist. And so he was like, I can't give you nothing right now because I'm not working. But I'll come over there and keep the kids while you work. So cool, that's fine. So he was coming over and keeping the kids. And so she wasn't there anymore. So after that, everything about her just started changing. Like, she started, I started hearing all these crazy stories, and, I'm just like, well, why is she losing all this weight? She ended up getting on drugs. And I do mean like some heavy, heavy, heavy drugs. And she was on dope. She was on coke. She was out here tricking. Like, her life went all the way down. All the way down, y'all. All the way down. Do y'all not know that her life is still effed up to this day? Like what that dude say? To this day, her life still messed up. She just had a baby, y'all, and the baby had crack, dope, fentanyl, and what's the stuff the dope heads take to keep them from getting high, but it's just something that make them high too. It starts with an M. Methadone. Her baby had all that stuff in his system, and to this day, right now, that baby she don't have custody of that baby or nothing. Like, when I tell you her life went down, and for the life of me, I could not understand why this girl's life went completely down to shits. But, I mean, I knew it after a while. But anyway, I'm going too far. So, let me back up. So, as my daughter started getting older, because when she was 3, she couldn't really articulate herself and tell me what happened. So, as she got older, I would take her back to the spot. And I would say, what happened? Do you remember what happened? And she started telling me little by little by little. And this went on till she was 5 years old. And when she was 5 years old, I took her over there and I said, do you remember what happened? She was like, yeah. She told me that they was all on, that she was in the house by herself. My youngest baby was asleep. She was looking for my little cousin that was watching her. So she went out on the patio and she was calling her name, and she heard all of them on the steps talking, and she climbed up on the chair. And when she climbed up on the chair, she lost her balance, and she said that her face hit the brick wall on the side and she fell on the ground. So mind you, the people apartment that was below us, she would have basically had to hit the little gate and then flip backwards until their patio. So the way our patio was situated above theirs is like ours stuck out a little bit more. So when she fell, she fell and she hit the ground. She didn't fall down up into their little patio like them little niggas told me. And like was telling me that the dude went by and heard her and jumped down there and grabbed her. No, they all heard my baby land on the ground crying, and they ran down there and got her. But they told me some bullshit ass lie, bullshit ass story, and my baby could have fucking died. And ever since then, when she came, because she didn't tell me the fucking truth, and she was lying about it and embellishing on the situation, her life has been fucked up ever since. Ever since. I give all praises to the Most High in Christ that my baby is still here. My baby didn't have a broken bone. My baby don't have no mental health issues, no mental issues, from hitting her head, having severe damage. None of that stuff. My baby she has a dimple, and she wasn't born with a dimple, but she has a dimple, which is almost pretty much you can't even tell anymore because of a muscle was split in her face. And so she had a dimple right there from when she fell. Man, if y'all could have seen my baby, my baby was 3 years old, y'all, whole face swollen on one side. If y'all could have seen my baby. So now I'm going to flip this back to Beach. Now this situation happened with this young man, right? We all know something happened. But Beach, if you ain't being truthful and you trying to ruin this man's life, then you know you're going to have to pay for that. If you think you're going to walk around here and your life be good, hunky-dory, and you trying to ruin somebody else's life, I feel bad for you. Because you have no idea of the consequences of karma when it come back on you for trying to ruin somebody's life. Now, if you talking about somebody, you popping shit, that's one thing. But when you trying to ruin somebody's life, that's a whole nother ball game. A whole nother ball game, y'all. I don't know what happened, but I wish that she would be honest and tell the truth about the situation of what happened. Because if she don't, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well, y'all. It's not. You cannot, with serious stuff like that, you cannot do shit like that and think that your shit is going to be good. Because it's not. But anyway, Mr. J calling me. I just wanted to really just put that in there because I thought about that little story time. And I figured I'd share it with y'all. Shit, y'all my fam, so hey. Whew, Real Miss J got plenty of stories, but I love y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, The Real Mrs. J, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.